Hello, welcome to the final part in my Hall Effect sensor trilogy. This one's going to be the 3D. This is what it looks like when I've sketched it. I'll just give you a quick overview. I'm going to be using the ESP32 to show you what's going on. The original, my pantograph just had this arm on here, and originally I was going to keep this arm on, but then I found that I needed to put this turntable on because I can only do quadrants. I've made this turntable so it will actually turn. I've got a little clip in the corner, and what I can do is I can move this round sort of 90 degrees at a time and do the 4 quadrants. So basically the arm will come in and it will do like 3D in this direction in this quadrant. So it'll come down from this quadrant here across, and it'll come across and do this quadrant, and anywhere in between basically, so any height and what have you, so whatever we'll put in there. But if I want to get the back side round the back, what we have to do is we have to turn it around. So we'll turn the actual wheel around, the turntable, and we'll do each quarter at a time. So this is our work area, but we're only going to do sort of like a segment, sort of like, I don't know, like that, like a segment inside there, sort of thing. So as before, we're using the same sort of sensors that I'm going to use on the arm. And now, using the same board, as before, we had the arm with the 2 sensors on. Now, this new one's going to have a third sensor on here, so we're going to have exactly the same. I'll just zoom out a bit so we can see. Might be a little noisy. Right, so we've got our arm. Hope you can see that. But this is the arm. So, and this, what we had before. Let me just crop that. What we had before was just the 2D version. So this is what we've got on here. It's basically this, but because it's hanging from a point up here, what I've had to do is sort of reinforce these arms so they're actually stronger, because I don't want them to move in this direction, although they do, because I haven't quite made this support strong enough. I made the support like this. I'll just get rid of that piece. I made the support like this, just using these 3 pieces of rod, because I wanted to keep the original 2D on, but since that's not possible now, and I've run out of rods, so I would really, I should have come up with a better support for it up here, because this top piece, it doesn't want to be able to move, but because it moves, then there's going to be errors. There's going to be errors in the rest of it, basically. So this is my first model, and I may get some more rod and then secure this top piece a lot stronger so it can't move. But you'll just have to bear with me, because it's all I've got at the moment. And so if I could have made it stronger at the top here, so this didn't actually move, then it will be more accurate. But that's where all the inaccuracy is coming from, is because this is moving around like so, and it can't. And also I've had to reinforce, let's see if I can turn it over. I've had to reinforce the board, because the board is too thin and it flexed, and I put some stiffeners on the bottom, but I don't have any board. What I reckon would be best to use would be something, at least 6mm plywood, and make a plywood base, and then I would have made a plywood wall this side and up that side, and then I would have made a really secure corner for this to sit in. But let's continue anyways. So I'll just move the camera again. So we only need to see this bottom bit, because basically my arm goes, oh, and this rod here, this rod that I've got across the top, all that does is, if I just move the camera again, is, you see this stylus, all it does is it keeps this level. As I move up and down and across, all it's doing is keeping this absolutely level. So no matter where I've got it, the stylus is completely level. So that's all that is. But you can see it swinging there as I move it. So we're going to get some errors, but the theory's there, and you know, obviously the situation comes that you pay for what you get. Basically, I'm doing it on a budget, and if I bought more money into it, then obviously I can make it more accurate. So all that put aside, I just wanted to just make it quite clear that you know, it's what I've made. I sort of jumped in the deep end with it actually, so, and I think it's come out quite well. So what I'll do is we'll start with a box. What I'm going to do is just a plain box. Well, actually this is a box I made on another Instructable, but when you stick it on this turntable, you need to stick it down firm with some sticky stuff so it doesn't actually move. So I'll just put this on there and just stick it in place so it's not going to move. So when I move this around, I'm not going to knock it. And we'll bring my software up. So I'll just say a little bit about my software. It's the same software that I used before, except I've now made it use the 3D. So let's just bring that in. So I'll bring that there. This can be a little bit bigger. Yeah, there's that. So if I make that, that's about the biggest size I can make it. So we can see both there now. And I've been moving it around, so I'll just clear that. So I've made a few changes to my software. It's got sliders on now. This is sliders for the 3D, so we can rotate it and you can actually see it's 3D. And the slider here. Obviously, you can switch between the pantograph, which just has these X and Y, and pen up and down, or we can use the point mapper now, which is the 3D, which gives us a radius, a Z, and an angle, and a pen up and down. And we've got our quadrants, so this is to tell the computer which quadrant that we're actually working in. Come to that later. And I've also added the choice between G-code and points. Well, G-code in the 3D is not really of any use, because you can't actually, well, you could send it to a 3D printer, but it wouldn't print it, it would just move to them points. So what we're going to do is we're going to just have it on point, and what it'll do is it'll just give points, X, Y, Z points. So and in this we've only got the auto mode and leave it at 1. So let's try mapping this little box, shall we? So we've got our arm. Oh, and I found it best to hold it about here, sort of thing. And I was thinking of putting a button on the arm again, but I found it a lot easier to actually put the button down here, sort of thing. So we can move it to where we're going to start, and I'll just do this back corner first. So if we just move it where we're going to start, oops, and then we press our pen down, and we can just move. Now my hands shake. If you try to make a point follow an edge of a corner, well, you can try it yourself, but I find it really difficult. So anyways, what you've got to do is try and follow the edge. So I'll just work my way around that corner, around that flat side, and then we'll just press stop. I don't know what happened there, but anyways, and we'll just do the top. I may have to change the angle of this stylus, and so we don't have this, so we can get a better representation, because when I move across there I'm going to hit them buttons and I've actually got to lift it, so this line's going to be totally wobbly as well. So, well, everything's going to be wobbly anyway. So, but we try and follow that line and then follow this line and along here, and you can see how it wobbles. Oops, I'm all over the place actually. So anyways, doing that one, so I'll do this one, you'll be able to see a bit more of that. So I'll move it where I want to start, press the button, down, and then across, all over the place, up, and across. Obviously I'm trying to do all this as quick as possible. We've got a little USB port there, so what I'll do is I'll try and draw that. Just a little square. Try and get this display. But I'm going to have to draw it a bit higher than what it is actually, so. But, oh. Anyways, so I'll just try and follow that square line across and up, and see if we can get this button shape here as well. So go across, back, across, and that's got that. Now do the front. So way over place. So, oh no, I shouldn't start laughing here. Right, so there we go. And up. Right, so that's roughly that. And oops. And so we can have a look at our software, and it doesn't look much there until you actually start to turn it. So like I say, we can actually spin it around, and we can actually see that it is 3D actually. So like I say, a bit over wobbly, and I've zoomed in to 3. I mean, if it was just 1-to-1, it doesn't actually look that bad. But there we go. So which is front? That must be back. We got it upside down. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Anyway, so I hope you found that quite impressive. So we'll just continue from there. What we can do is, once we've actually done the, like I was saying, I jumped in deep end here drawing 3. This is the first time I've ever written any program that actually draws 3D objects. So it was new for me, was this? It was a learning curve. But anyways, we've got the actual points here. All the points here have all been listed. So what we can do is we can Control A, select all them, and then copy them. And then what we can do, if we bring up a folder, and what we'll do is I'll create a new text document. So if we create a new text document, and we'll call this XYZ box. XYZ box, like that. There we go, and there's our new file. So I'll double click, open it, and then we can paste all the points in and save that. So save. And then there are far better programs than mine out there. So one of them is MeshLab. So if you get something like MeshLab, just open that up, and what we can do is we can import a mesh. So if we go down to our XYZ box that we just created, and we just put the separator to a space, so we want that on space, and then click OK, and there is our box. Now then, there's one of these there, that highlights it better. So you've got it, you've got the 3D in a decent program that you can actually manipulate with, but obviously my shaky hand is well, I'm rushing it anyway. So what we'll do is I'll just we'll close that one, close project, right? So where's that gone? Right, sorry about that, I just lost it for a minute there. So what we'll do is we'll clear this. Let's try something more, something a little better, shall we? I'll just bring, there we go, bring that up. Bring that up. There we go. So let's get rid of the box. Now sticky pans, I might need some of them. And bring my dad back in. There we go. So let's try him. There we go. So as I mentioned before, we've got the quadrants down here at the bottom. So I'm just going to be working in this first quadrant round the front here. So it'll be from about there around to about there, sort of thing. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to try and digitize the whole thing. I'm just going to try and just do some outlines. So what I'll do is outline the nose, the eyes, and we've got a joint going round here, so I'll outline that joint, so when we spin it around we've got sub-reference, and we'll do the jaw. I'm not going to do the teeth either. So what we'll do, we'll start. This is, I'll try and do it as quick as I can, a bit wobbly, but otherwise it's going to be a long video. So we go to a point we want, and then click and follow it around. I find it best to do it in halves, really. So just a little bit. Like I say, I've got the steadiest of hands, and it's very, well, trying to run a point along the edge of a point is quite difficult. Well, I find it, there's a bone inside there. Change hands and do this side. Yeah, I think so. And of course you can have us fast forward the video as well if you like. I just want to show you that it actually works. Well, if you fast forward you miss my comments. Have I done the cheat code? Oh yeah, I think. Right, so oh, just this bit of line up. We can't get all of it, so like I say, we're going to do quadrants. So do as far as you can reach, basically. I should put the other glasses on and all. There, so right, so once I've just done that first sort of quadrant there, what we can do is I've got my catch here, and we can rotate it now to the second quadrant. There we go, and we must remember to click this button on the software to say that we're in the second quadrant. And now we can do this area. And what I'll also do, I'll do these little cracks in the top here as well. That'll give us some sort of reference. Otherwise it's just going to be space in between. So what I'll do is I'll just do this line. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but it might be better once I've turned it round. Back at the jaw there. The ear part. And then what we'll do is I'm just going to do the line. All over the place again, right? So we'll find out what it comes out like. I think I can only reach part of this. Well, no, I can't actually reach that part. Oh, can I? Oh yeah, I can just reach a little bit of it. So I can do that little section. And then we need to turn again. So need to turn it around to the back bit. Maybe if I turn that a little, you'll be able to see a bit better. Yeah, and you must remember to change the quadrant on the software, otherwise it's just going to draw it in the same place. What I'll do is I'll just finish this line off, going round the back. That's as far as it goes. You can do this crack across the top. Oh, miles away there again. Might look alright though. And this is an easy one because you can just rest it on the actual piece. And I'll put that line all the way back down there. There we go. Right, so I'll just change quadrant again. There we go. You can see it's a bit toothless. We must remember to put the mark the quadrant on the software. And what I'll do is I'll follow this line up. I'm not trying to push the subject away. And then we can do a bit of this line as well. And more on this side. Do this brow. bit. Do the back of the jar. Right, reaching back of those. There we go. Oh, have I done it underneath? Not too sure. Let's do it again anyways. Right, so I think that's got that done. So that's the fourth quadrant, all of them. Turning back round again. Right, so we've got that, and we can look at it in my software, and you can see. Hopefully, well, actually, I hope you're impressed as much as I am actually with that, because I tell you, I think it's the first time I've ever written anything to do with 3D. It looks like the eyes might get a bit cross-eyed here, because when it sort of goes away, it sort of looks like it's looking forward, but you're actually looking from behind. You can see it better if we just tilt it a little. But and then you can see that it actually goes to the back and then to the front. But you know, I didn't want to do a lot. What you can actually do is you could just keep scribbling all over the top of it, and it would actually just complete. You just end up lots of lines and points, which you could then use in something like what was it? Oh yeah, Mesh Lab. Yeah. So what we'll do is we can zoom in a bit as well, so we can make it a bit bigger. There we go. So and let's just make it. It goes up to 3. I've made it so it'll still fit on. But obviously, when you zoom into 3, you can see all my wobbles. I tell you that's my hand shaking. It's ridiculous. But anyways, so we've got that, and so we've got all these points down here again. So what we'll do, just Control A, and then copy those, and then what we'll do is save another file. Where's my file? Not that one. There we go. Right, so we'll create another text file, new text file, and we'll call this skull, shall we? Okay, so we've got skull there, and then what we can do is we can paste them in. So they're all pasted in, and save it. And then if we bring Mesh Lab in again, so Mesh Lab. And then if we go to File, Import, oh no, that's raster that, sorry, I've got the wrong one. Import, Mesh, there we go. And then we've got, oh, hang on, where are we? 3D thing. Skull, so we import skull, and we set that again to space, and go OK, and click one of these, there we go, brightens it up. But now we've got some professional software that we can now zoom around, and we can you can do things with it basically. If you just want to get a rough guide of the size of something, but no. So hopefully you like that, and well, that's it. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching. I hope you're impressed as I was when I actually finally made it. Thank you very much.